Broadcast is live.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good evening, good evening, good evening. My name is Tyrone Brown Jr. You know that this is the Live Show podcast, and we are here tonight to talk to two very talented people, and they're going to give their stories. But before we do that, we just want to welcome all of you that are on Twitter, on Twitch, of course, Facebook. We have in all of these LinkedIn accounts and all of those things. But look, thank you so much for all of your support, continuing to support us, continuing to watch us, continuing to share. So we appreciate all of that. So without further ado, also before I forget, look, our website, which is scrolling right at the bottom of the screen. Look, our website is live right now. I know we don't normally do a 7 o'clock show, but tonight we're doing it exclusive. Okay, we're doing an exclusive. Here it is. Oh, wow. Original Magazine is checking in from Spain. Look, good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, we're going to meet with these people that are really doing some things in the film industry. And so without further ado, I just want to welcome none other than Vic and Lenora. They are the UnShadow Cast from Dr. K. How are you guys tonight?
We're good. Thank
We're
you for
good.
having us.
Thank you.
Good deal, good deal. So I wanna get into first of all your backgrounds, where you grew up, and we'll start there.
Yeah, mine is pretty boring. I'm actually a full-time nurse, so that's my background. And I grew up in California, and acting. I was doing a few plays at our local theater, and I started doing UnShadow with Vic over our, pandemic, and that's how I got into it. And it's almost like an outlet, to my regular job.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so now you, Vic, where did you grow up at, and how did this all start?
Man, I was born like in the LA County area, and then we came up here. My family came up here when I was like 5 years old. So we've been up in this high desert, Southern California, for forever, over 30 years or so.
Wow,
so way over 30 years. It's going to be more.
How in the world did you guys start acting?
You know what? What was that?
No, I was just saying, how did you guys start acting? How did you start your acting careers and then getting and doing films? How did that start?
You know what? I think it's just for me. Since I was a kid, I've always wanted to get into acting and stuff like that, and get into film and stuff like that. But then I realized I couldn't act, so I ended up started going more behind the scenes. It started I went to school for film. With San Bernardino Valley for a while, so I learned how to do screenwriting, directing, and all that. So I stayed more behind the scenes for, a while. So, so that's pretty much it. And I just kind of grew into it, and I decided just to do everything on my own. And then finally just started acting on my own and started making my own films instead, just like that.
Wow. So you launched out into the deep.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's good. That's good. So who is our other friend that you are holding?
This is Rio, and he's a conure, and he's like a 2-year-old on crack.
Wow. I am impressed. And he's very behaved. I mean, he's just sitting there, just chilling. Well, I want to ask you all even about UnShadow and what it means to you all to make this film.
I don't know where you want to start.
No, you can start.
Start?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it was kind of the very first episode that we did was kind of like almost kind of like a mistake in a sense because
Okay.
it was supposed to only be like a really short like a 1 minute horror short, you know, with a friend of mine. It was during the pandemic, and I filmed a lot of stuff with him in the garage working out and stuff like that, and I figured, oh, let's just make something out of it. And then
Yeah.
sadly he ended up moving away, and then
Okay.
that's how I got a hold of Lenore. I knew Lenore acted, and then when she started you know, doing some of the scenes and stuff, I really got hooked on it, and we ended up becoming this bigger story now instead of just being,
Yeah.
you know, a short. So yeah, so that's how pretty much it came about, stuff like that. The first episode didn't really have much of a storyline. It was just stuff that it was basically just thrown together, you know,
Okay.
until we got into the second episode. When we got to the second episode, we finally got a story, you know, so that's how
Got it. So now how many episodes do you guys have of UnShadow?
The $1 million question.
That
We didn't know we were gonna have a first episode.
Yeah, we didn't even
We didn't know. People started asking for the second, so we made the second. Right after the second, people started asking for the third.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So right now we're on our third episode right now, working on the third episode.
Working on the third episode, and I don't know how many episodes we're gonna make. Probably whatever's in demand and whatever we can do.
Just whenever God says stop, just don't do anymore.
Right now,
I
yeah,
see.
the journey's awesome.
That is awesome. And so, Lenore, how does it make you feel, and with your acting ability, where, what is your mindset, even as an actor? I mean, as you progress, what is your mindset as an actor?
I honestly just follow his direction. Serenity's personality is nothing like my real personality, and there's like no laughing or smiling on the set.
It's pretty depressing.
She's pretty monotone. You don't really know where her personality's at. But a lot of direction from him. And as I think as the character develops, as she grows within me, then I start knowing what he expects, like, you know, a little more. But yeah.
I love that you said that, because it takes a special person to kind of bond with someone else, you know, especially in work, you know, and that's what Vic is. And Vic, I see you as a visionary, man. And I mean, you seem very meticulous. Can you tell us like a little bit more of your mindset as an actor or as a director?
You know,
Do it until you get it right.
we take a lot of takes. We do a lot of takes, and yeah, just get it right. But I mean, I've done other projects before, I think, and I think what kind of really triggered it mostly it was during the pandemic. So I think during the pandemic there was a lot of stress and a lot of gloom and a lot of sorrow. A lot of different things happened during the pandemic, and it was especially for myself and my personal life as well too, and a lot of my friends' lives and everything. So I think I kind of just harnessed all that, you know, and just tried to put something into it and try to see if we can get you know, realistic, you know, acting and realistic more scenarios and stuff like that, and just kind of just evolve and grow from that. I mean, I've done other projects like, you know, action to, you know, cosplay to, you know, horror and all that stuff, and there's a certain vibe for that, which is good. But for something like this, we try to make it a little bit more realistic in a sense, even though it is sci-fi and all that. But a lot of the ideas came from like during the pandemic and some of the stuff that's going on in the world, and a lot of, you know, current things that are going on in the world, technology, all kinds of different stuff. So so I try to make it realistic as possible. So try to add that in there and try to just grow from that, you know, and stuff, which opened a lot of different avenues and when it came to directing and acting and stuff. So
wow.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of we're just learning every day as we go. We just keep learning and learning, learning. The more episodes that we're doing, the more scenes that we're doing, we just grow from it and stuff, and we just kind of like sponge off it. Like, well, that was a cool scene. We should maybe try this or try this or try this. A lot of it's very experimental,
Yeah.
stuff, you know. So.
And that's what works. A lot of times, you're thinking on the fly. Even as a visionary, some
Mhm.
things you tweak, some things you don't tweak. Other things, you completely, push to the side. But as a visionary, I guess that's your mindset. And then I can see, like I said, meticulous. When I use that word for you, that was a compliment because meticulous people, what they do are, or what they are perfectionists.
Mm-hmm.
And so they want things done a certain way. How do I know? Because I am one.
And it is like that, and it is. I mean, I take that as a compliment because every episode that we did and stuff like that, I'm open to everyone's ideas, but then again, I'm
Yeah.
kind of like, I've already got a vision. I want to make sure that, I mean, I'm still open to it, but then again, let's see what we can do to get there and stuff. But I want to make sure everything's right. I want to make sure, even when it comes to the actors, and then when it comes to like certain scenarios and stuff, I want to make sure it looks good. I want to make sure everyone's acting good. That's like I said, we take a lot of takes. And we're not doing two or
Yeah.
three takes. We're doing like 20 takes, and stuff like that.
Wow.
And there's a lot of stunts too and stuff. And if the stunt looks cheesy, we just don't put it in. I just edit it out. So I want to make sure everything is realistic as possible, and especially the storyline and everything else, and the acting, and especially a lot of these actors some of them are theater actors, and they're really good. They're really good.
Right.
But when you're doing like this really monotone type sci-fi drama, you got to tone down a bit. So you're not as charismatic. You know what I'm saying? So that all that has to be toned down. So yeah, it's really nitpicking on every little thing. And when I say it's cheesy, it's cheesy. Take it out. That's how we did the whole Shadow series. So
wow, man, this is awesome. Again, look, ladies and gentlemen, those of you that are watching us, whatever social media platform or our website that you are watching us on, you are now live with the Life Show podcast. I'm your host, Tyrone Brown Jr., and I have our special guest, the UnShadow Cast from Dr. K. Now, they talked about the making of the film. Can you give us the storyline? Because I watched the scene where he jumped over the fence and then he was trying to kill. Well, I don't want to give it away, but but it just shows that I watched. Can you give some of like the storyline for this film or for these films?
yeah, do you want to?
I can start off. It's for episode 1. It was very. The girl was Serenity was very alone. She was losing people she loved. She didn't know what was going on in the world that was changing, and she was trying to follow the rules, but trying to get her life back together or her family. She's searching for answers. So that's kind of like episode 1. And then episode 2 is
that's where the story
that's when the story kind of
blossom.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like that. I mean, the first episode was just like Serenity Gray. It introduced pretty much the character, and also when you watch it, you'll see a lot of the visions and stuff that she was having in there and stuff like that. A lot of end times type visions and stuff like that. So that's where we kind of get the idea from the pandemic thing. I mean, she's alone, she's isolated, but then again, there's people after her, and she doesn't know who to trust. She can't trust her family. She can't trust anybody. So when we got into the second episode, we kind of brought that out into the light and stuff like that. So now you got the Shadow Enforcers and stuff, which is now it's like a new world government now. She has stuff that she has stuff that they need, and so they're after her and that sort of thing. And then she's being betrayed by family and that sort of thing. And then now when we get into the third episode, it just gets more deeper into that. It's going to bring more of her story out and stuff like that. So Yeah, so it's kind of like
I loved what I saw. You know, these are I think the more films that you guys create, even in this, is gonna get better and better and better. And I just, you know, to be or to see all of the episodes that you guys have created, this is I love what you're doing. And then I want to really get into you talked about the pandemic and how you basically shaped the film pretty much like right in the pandemic and maybe made a version of how we, you know, how life is after the pandemic.
Yeah, I think I mean, like I said, that was a stepping stone that we
Yeah,
used for that, and there was a lot of stuff that people were going through. You know, we thought we'd
right,
realistically do that, but I also think too, and again, when people watch it, it has nothing to do with the pandemic. It has nothing to do with COVID. It has nothing to do with any of that. It's just we felt that it was kind of more of a stepping stone of what, let's just say, per se, the government can do. Because I mean, the pandemic changed laws. It changed everything worldwide. We don't know what's going to
right,
happen 10 years from now because this happens 10 years after all that. What's going to be the next
right.
step? Also, what's the world going to face? That sort of thing. So we figured, you know, one new world government, you know, we threw that in there. So now there's new laws, there's new this, there's new that, and everything else, and there's challenges with everybody and stuff like that. So I think that's kind of the area that we're leaning towards. So we don't know what's going to happen 10 years from now. We don't know. You know, laws change all the time. Stuff changes all the time. People change, you know. So, you know, that's just how we were running with.
But then you gave your perspective of what you saw through your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that's what the storyline is really about. You just giving your perspective of, you know, what's going to happen or what you see happening, should I say.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much. I mean, we see it. I
So
mean, we see it worldwide. I mean, we see it like even in the news and on the internet or whatever. I mean, things. I mean, especially technology. You know, currency, all kinds of stuff. Things are, you know, changing, still changing, that sort of thing. And you know, and again, it's just going to be a big surprise what happens in the next 10 years from now. We don't know what's going to happen. You know, so.
definitely. Even in your area, well, I'll talk about the area that we're in, which is Northwest Indiana. In your area, do you see a lot of situational changes in the environment or in the surrounding community, should I say?
Yeah. The Because of the rules that were going on with the lockdown and the pandemic, and you know, the 6 feet, stay away from each other, don't connect with
Yeah,
each other. It's changed a lot of people. You know, some people like it, some people still follow by the rules, some people aren't
right.
comfortable being close to each other anymore.
You're right.
Our interpretation of connection has moved to, you know, 2D instead of 3D. You know,
You're right. You're
yeah.
right.
So I do see that a lot.
There's a lot of people. We're in Southern California, and there's a lot of angry people. A lot of angry people, and
Well, it's the same way. Yep.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's the same way here. But that's why crime is on the rise, and then you have a lot of things that are going on. I think and I, you know, because of the film, it kind of puts me in mind of the times we're living in. You know, as I begin to continue to watch and how it can evolve, and so those kind of things that you put in the film, they're kind of like looking like, man, well, that was in the film too. Wait a
Yeah.
minute, that was in the film too. So
Yeah.
you're looking at all of these things and so like, man, is this film depicting what he's saying and it's coming to pass? But it's like I said, I really like it. I really like it.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're hoping that
Definitely.
there should be a lot more stuff that's going to be coming in the future episodes and stuff. I mean, I try to keep myself, you know, locked into different things that are going on around the world and stuff like that, you know, and you know, whatever end time stuff, that sort of thing. So I try to keep myself busy and trying to learn all that too. I mean, like I said in the second episode, we got the identity chip in there, and you've got the doctor taking the identity chip out and all this stuff. Because I mean, you never know. We're facing that now. I mean, people are injecting chips now, that sort of thing, and they have been for a while, so it's nothing new. But then again, is it going to be like, or are we going to be forced to take it? That sort of thing. We don't know. So it's just one of those things that kind of gets you thinking. I mean, it's not I don't want to label. And again, I tell this to everybody. I mean, I don't want to label like the movie being a conspiracy issue tool type thing or anything. It's conspiracy theory.
Right.
It's not. It's not.
Right.
It's just pretty much. It's pretty much what we already see today. Everything, from technology to the news to everything else, and what's happening around the world and stuff like that. So it's already there, and people know. So.
Yeah, definitely. And here it is. And you guys have been doing this for quite some time. Where do you see the next? And I know you said till God says stop, but what do you see next, like as another step, as far as your movies, especially the direction that you're headed in right now? Do you see you expanding or anything like that?
I honestly don't know. I mean, again, I don't know the future. So right now I'm just kind of taking it day by day and just trying to keep writing the story, see where the story goes, and just trying to grow from the story. I do have a lot of ideas when it comes to the storylines and stuff like that. With other films, I have different ideas for. I think I have to admit, I mean, doing UnShadow, it broke me out of this certain vibe that I want to do stories that matter. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like I said, I mean, I know it's sci-fi drama and that stuff. You can be really creative with that, but you can also add in a lot of realism to it and a lot of really cool stuff in there that people can relate to, and especially different storylines with people and stuff that people are going through and that sort of thing. And I kind of want to veer towards that now, instead of just doing dark horror stuff and all that, which is cool if you're into that. But I'm kind of breaking out of that and trying to just more stories that matter and more stories that are just going to like get people to think and to relate to and that sort of thing. And UnShadow did that. So every episode that we did was like, and I got this other project, Send the Dark, which I'm doing, which is catching criminals on the dark web. I revamping that. We've already got one episode for that, but I'm revamping the whole story because I felt it was like I can do a lot better. I can do way better, So I want to bring more of that realism to it, So so it has helped out in that way, creative ways,
That's good. I love it.
Yeah, I think goal wise, if we can answer that question, probably would be just to build a community of fans to tell the story to.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. And I think that should be, because I could say that that's everyone's goal, but not everyone has that mind. That's one reason why we are doing the Life Show podcast, and that is to bring awareness to what people are doing that is not, we can say that there's not a lot of good people out here, but here it is. I met two good people right here in front of me doing an interview that I never would have met had I not launched this. And so what it does is it gets me out of my comfort zone to really, put this thing together the right way. And as Vic, as you mentioned it, when you have a certain image in mind, you don't stop until you perfect all of those things. And that's exactly like, if you go in the past, and I know, what you guys are doing is solid, but from July 8th of 2020 it was the launch of the Life Show podcast.
Oh, wow.
If you go back to the beginning of our podcast, you will see how drastically it has changed. Like over these almost 2.5 years, man, this thing, it has really changed. But we keep tagging away, and that's what you guys are doing.
That's about the time I think we started, was in 2020, around that time, June. Yeah, it was in that summer.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, man. Well, I can't help. Look, everyone, if you don't know, look, go on the page, click the link, and look up. It'll show you the UnShadow Cast, Dr. K. It'll show you. Go look these movies up. Go watch them. I think you're gonna really enjoy them. I'm already on, my fourth episode, and these were sent to me a couple of days ago. So I'm watching, but it's really good. I'm very happy that we could sit down and do this interview with you guys, and we kind of missed our mark the last week, and we didn't want to miss it this week, but it's okay. This is a great interview. I want to ask you guys, guys have any thank yous or any people that you want to thank or anything like that?
I got a lot. I got a list.
So okay.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody that was involved in the projects, all the projects that we've been working on. They helped out a lot. I mean, as far as like, taking time off work and taking time off of this and that, just to be in the film and stuff like that. And some of the people that helped, did the crew, the lighting or to the sound and all that. Everybody, there's a lot of people to name, and I know if I miss one, they're punch me in the face probably. But there was a lot of people. I want to thank all the crew and the cast and everybody that was involved with UnShadow and all the other projects that we've been into, especially Lenore too. She's helped out a lot, especially with Premiere and everything else and stuff like that. So that's pretty much it. So.
Well, I'm gonna put it out there. We definitely want to do a follow-up interview. So, on down the road, we want to come back and have you on. If you've done any more projects or, you're venturing or need people to pay attention, look, we are your channel. Okay. So you definitely have access over here at the Live Show Podcast.
Awesome.
So look, again, everyone, I am Tyrone Brown Jr. This is the Live Show Podcast Network. And guess what? We ain't through yet. And I've already told y'all the radio station is coming. So y'all, and I let the cat out the bag for a reason. But y'all watch. I want to say this to everyone that is following us, that is sharing us, that is loving on us, that is continuing to support us. Thank you so much. I am here with our special guest, the UnShadow Cast from Dr. K. If you are just catching up, look, go click the link on the page. We left it on there so you can see it. Go support. Go watch it. It only takes just a few minutes to look, and it's gonna draw you in. But other than that, look, Vic, look, Laura, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Look,
we had a lot. It was fun.
Absolutely. Everyone, look, have a great, safe night. Remember, look, like, comment, share this, share it with somebody. You don't know who could see it, who could need it. All right. I'm Tyrone Brown Jr. This is another Live Show Podcast Network interview with the UnShadow Cast from Dr. K. Have a great and safe evening. Peace.